Clash at Global Summit. Mark Carney and Donald Trump exchange harsh words, physical shove sparks Controve. In an extraordinary and unexpected scene at the sidelines of a high-level global summit this week, former U.S. President Donald Trump and former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney became embroiled in a heated verbal exchange that escalated into a brief physical confrontation. According to eyewitnesses and video footage circulating on social media, the two men not only traded sharp insults but also shoved each other before security and aides intervened to separate them. The clash, which took place during a closed-door economic panel attended by finance ministers, central bankers, and global leaders, has sent shockwaves through diplomatic and political circles. Analysts are calling it one of the most remarkable public spats between two high-profile figures in recent years. A heated exchange turns physical. The incident reportedly unfolded after a panel discussion on global economic recovery and financial stability. Carney, who currently serves as the United Nations Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance, had been delivering remarks on the dangers of political instability undermining economic cooperation. According to multiple attendees, his comments, though not mentioning Trump by name, were widely perceived as a veiled criticism of the former U.S. president's approach to international agreements and his skepticism of climate change initiatives. Trump, seated a few rows away, appeared visibly agitated. Witnesses say he muttered under his breath, shook his head repeatedly, and eventually interrupted the moderator to respond directly to Carney. Mark Carney doesn't know what he's talking about, Trump reportedly declared. He failed at the Bank of England, and now he's lecturing the world. Total disaster. Carney shot back, saying, with respect, Mr. Trump, undermining international cooperation is the real disaster. Leadership is not about walking away from agreements when it's convenient. What began as a war of words quickly escalated when both men rose to their feet during a break in proceedings. Shouts were heard, with Trump accusing Carney of being a globalist puppet, while Carney accused Trump of playing politics with people's livelihoods. Several sources confirm that as Trump moved closer to Carney, the two men bumped shoulders. A brief shove from both sides followed, prompting gasps in the room. Security personnel immediately intervened, escorting both figures back to their delegations. Eyewitness accounts. Delegates described the atmosphere as tense and surreal. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, said one European finance minister who requested anonymity. It's not every day you see a former U.S. president and a central banker nearly coming to blows at an economic summit. People were stunned. Video clips recorded by attendees, though somewhat grainy, have already gone viral on social media, showing Trump pointing his finger aggressively at Carney and Carney leaning forward, appearing unyielding. While the shove itself is only partially visible, the footage has been replayed millions of times across platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Background. Who is Mark Carney? Mark Carney, 59, is one of the most respected financial leaders in the world. A Canadian economist, he served as the governor of the Bank of Canada before becoming governor of the Bank of England from 2013 to 2020, the first non-British citizen to hold the post. Carney earned a reputation as a steady hand during turbulent times, including the aftermath of the global financial crisis and the economic uncertainties surrounding Brexit. Since leaving the Bank of England, Carney has focused on climate finance, arguing that financial markets must adapt to the realities of climate change. His work has made him a prominent figure in global climate negotiations, often placing him at odds with political leaders who dismiss climate concerns or prioritize short-term economic growth. Trump's return to the spotlight. Donald Trump, meanwhile, has remained a dominant figure in U.S. politics since leaving office in January 2021. Despite ongoing legal challenges and controversies, he continues to command loyalty among a large segment of the Republican Party base. Trump has frequently criticized international organizations, climate agreements, and global financial elites, often positioning himself as a nationalist voice against what he calls globalist agendas. The clash with Carney therefore fits a familiar pattern. Trump challenging establishment figures who represent international cooperation, while presenting himself as the defender of sovereignty and national interest. Political and economic context. The timing of the confrontation is especially significant. The Global Summit, held in Geneva, Switzerland, was aimed at fostering unity on pressing issues such as climate change, economic inequality, and international trade. Instead of highlighting cooperation, the Trump-Carney clash has dominated headlines, overshadowing policy discussions. This episode reveals deep fractures in global leadership, said Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a political scientist at the London School of Economics. On one side, you have technocrats like Carney arguing for coordinated responses to climate and financial risks. On the other, you have populist figures like Trump who thrive on rejecting global consensus. The clash was symbolic of the broader struggle shaping world politics today. Reactions from leaders and experts. World leaders were quick to comment, albeit cautiously. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, asked about the incident, said, "Mark Carney is a Canadian who has always represented our values of diplomacy and cooperation. We hope all participants at these summits can engage respectfully." Meanwhile, Trump allies defended him. Former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon told reporters, "Trump doesn't back down when elites attack him. Mark Carney is just another global bureaucrat trying to impose rules on America." The president, and I still call him president, stood his ground. Carney's supporters painted a different picture. Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank, tweeted, "Mark Carney has been a pillar of integrity in global finance. Personal attacks and physical intimidation have no place in international dialogue." Social media storm. On social media, the incident sparked a frenzy. Hashtags like #Trump vs Carney, #Global Summit Fight, and #Diplomatic Drama trended worldwide within hours. Memes portraying the clash flooded platforms, with some comparing it to a boxing match, while others criticized both men for lacking decorum. Polls conducted by several media outlets showed mixed reactions. Some viewers admired Carney for standing firm against Trump, while Trump's loyal base praised him for not letting elites lecture him. Security concerns. Questions are also being raised about how such a confrontation was allowed to escalate. Summit organizers confirmed that an internal review is underway. "We take the safety and dignity of all participants very seriously," said a spokesperson. Additional security protocols will be put in place for future sessions. Implications for U.S. politics. For Trump, the incident could cut both ways. His critics argue that the clash reinforces perceptions of him as undisciplined and combative, unfit for statesman-like conduct. His supporters, however, see the moment as proof of his authenticity and willingness to challenge elites. "Every time Trump goes off script, it energizes his base," said political commentator James Matthews. "This may hurt him with international audiences, but in U.S. domestic politics, it might actually help." Carney's rising political profile. Interestingly, the confrontation has also elevated Carney's global profile. Once known primarily within financial circles, Carney is now being discussed in political terms. Some Canadian analysts even speculate that the former central banker could one day enter politics at home, though Carney himself has downplayed such talk. The bigger picture. Ultimately, the Trump-Carney clash is about more than two men losing their tempers. It underscores the ideological divides shaping global governance: nationalism versus internationalism, short-term gains versus long-term sustainability, populism versus technocracy. "This was not just a personal spat," said Dr. Aisha Khan, an international relations scholar in Geneva. "It was a performance of two worldviews colliding. The shove was physical, but the real impact is symbolic." Looking ahead, as the summit continues, attention has shifted from policy proposals to questions about civility and leadership. Organizers are working to refocus discussions, but the shadow of the confrontation looms large. For Trump, the episode may provide fresh campaign material. For Carney, it cements his reputation as a principled but combative figure in global debates. For the world, it serves as a reminder of how fragile international cooperation can be when personalities clash. Conclusion. What began as an exchange of harsh words between Mark Carney and Donald Trump spiraled into a moment of physical tension that has captivated global attention. While no one was injured and the incident was swiftly contained, its political and symbolic consequences will likely reverberate for weeks, if not months. In an era when diplomacy is expected to rise above personal disputes, the sight of two prominent figures pushing each other at a global summit is both shocking and telling. Whether remembered as a bizarre footnote or a turning point in global political theater, the Trump-Carney clash has already secured its place in the annals of diplomatic drama.